Garcia.
Alrighty, what's happening? 10:02 on the fan. It's the Tiki and Tierney Show. Let's go. Oh, we're coming for you, Cavs. We got the Cavaliers talking tough. Ooh, we're going to get physical. Ooh, we're going to push back. Let's go.
Why didn't you do it in game one?
Oh, man, it's going to be an awesome sports night. Knicks, Cavs, Rangers, Devils, Yanks, Mets. Can I come correct / clean?
That is in correcting yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is rare. Listen up, people.
Thanks, buddy. I may have missed the mark with the Metsies a little bit here, Teak. I may have missed the mark on two levels with the Mets. Number one, I don't think the National League is as good as I thought it was going to be, number one. But more importantly, if you remember, I laid out the objective for the Mets coming into April, and the two words, the way I described what April should represent for the Mets, don't drown. Although there was a strong possibility, given the state of the NL, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, the Padres, the Braves, who really are good, the Phillies, right? I was worried about the Mets limping into May below 500. And since then, and now listen, I'm not saying it's perfect with the Mets here, but through 17 games, they're perfect out west so far. They've beaten the bad teams. They've handled business. A's stink. They swept them. They've navigated some injuries, which is impressive, so they've proven resilient. And they beat a couple of good pitchers along the way as well.
Yeah.
And they've rebounded from some alarmingly, or just alarming adversity out in Milwaukee to start the series or the season here. So I'm not getting on the air and saying I was wrong with the Mets or that the Mets are going to win 101 games again, whatever. But the Mets have at least taken the first couple of weeks of the season and shoved it down my throat.
Well,
and good for the Mets.
Well, look, you're right about the National League. The Dodgers seem flawed, right, in some capacity. Phillies are really scrapping right now, 6-10. They are. But when I look at the Mets, as good as they have been, especially these last 5. Now, 3 of those were against the A's, as you were just mentioning. So it's a small sample size against a bad organization, team, ballpark, whatever. Throw it all out there. The A's stink. They still have so many questions. Are we sure what's wrong with Max Scherzer? I have no idea. Do we know when Justin Verlander is actually going to come back and pitch? David Peterson got the win, putting that in quotes, after getting smashed around by Freddie Freeman, and Max Muncy goes yard. He gives up 3 home runs. Luckily, this is a resilient team, to your point, BT, but you can't feel really confident about that start from David Peterson. Carlos Carrasco, even though he only gave up 2 runs his last outing, easily could have given up 6 or 7. Right? There's still a lot of question marks about this team. It feels good. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. They're not drowning. In fact, they're not even treading. They're kind of, swimming strongly right now. And bringing up Brett Beatty solves that even more.
And playing them
from
right
from
away.
a fan perspective. They didn't take him out for lefty pitchers either. So they just said, "All right, kid, figure this thing out," which is encouraging. But there's still a lot of question marks. I think it might be a product, and this is just me being devil's advocate. It might be a product of where the schedule has them sitting right now, and the fact that you're right about the National League. There's just some teams that are underperforming. The Dodgers are certainly one of them.
Hey, listen, that's a big part of the puzzle, though, for me. Dodgers 8-10, Padres 8-10, Cardinals 7-10, Phillies 6-10. Now, listen, again, this is not some radical shift of philosophy or how I view the Mets. I thought the Mets will be a very competitive team this year. I thought they'd be right in the mix for a wild card. I certainly think the Braves lineup is better. I thought that coming in. I think that now. I do think the Braves win the division, but there was and I guess it could still go awry. I mean, if you lose tonight, you lose the next game, you lose the Dodgers series, you got 4 against the Giants, not a really good team, but a tough ballpark. It's big, it's a little quirky, it's spacious out there in Triples Alley. You're on the road for 10 days, 11 days. Things can happen. This can completely melt. Yeah. I get that. It's baseball, Susan. Anything can happen. But you have to understand and you have to measure where the Mets are versus where they very well could be. I mean, you're right. I don't know about Justin Verlander. I'm not sure what I think I have a sense that he's going to come back earlier than I thought, but I'm not sure exactly what the repertoire is going to be when he does. So that's a trapdoor potentially. Got it. You're right. Max Scherzer's not young. You know, he had a tap out at the end with the Dodgers in the postseason back in the day. I mean, not back in the day, 2 years ago. And then obviously missed 7 weeks with the Mets last year. Got it. He is a little, there's an element of fragility with him. He's not a young kid. He's throwing a lot of high leverage pitches. Got it. Okay. But when you look at how they looked in Milwaukee, when you look at, Vogelbach, yeah, he hit a home run, whatever, big damn deal. Would you get the other kids up so this kid gets Vogelbach can sit on the bench? When you look at their DH black hole, when you look at the black hole with Escobar, when you look at the catching hole with Nito, when you look at even some other issues in terms of the back of the rotation, I'm sorry. To me, 11-6 is borderline outstanding. And I know they've beaten some bad teams, but so have the Rays. And we were up there, waxing poetic about, the Rays, they're 13-0. And I know they've lost a couple since, but who did they beat? They beat the Tigers. They beat some trash teams.
They beat the teams they were supposed to beat.
And so were the Mets. And I think you got to give them credit for that. No, you really do.
You definitely.
April could have been very unkind to these Mets.
Yeah, the schedule lined up right for them. And this West Coast trip, and we got to take some some lack of faith from Hoff over here and his Mets, thinking they're only getting 5 wins. They're already at 4. They haven't lost yet out there on the West Coast. And look, there's a good chance they take 2 out of 3. They win this series against the Dodgers, and hell, they could sweep the Giants as bad as they've been playing.
Let's talk. So that's what. That would be 6 and 7.
That would
and
be
at that
9.
point they'd be
that'd be 9.
I'm saying, but over what remains. So they 6 of 7 remaining. They would be at that point 17-7.
Yeah.
Do I have that right? I believe I do. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean...
He's setting himself up for a pretty damn good summer right there.
All of a sudden, it feels like the Mets that won 101 games last year.
You know what? It's funny you say that. Go ahead. But it is funny you say that.
Yeah, hold that thought on that for a second. It feels like the Mets that won 101 games. The challenge is that they still have these rotation issues. And as much as we thought they would have closure issues, they haven't. Right, Ottavino was good last night. Robertson has been good as well. And again, we talked about this the other day. I remember yesterday he hasn't walked a batter yet. Right, he's
pitching great
with 4 saves. He's pitching great. So the bullpen, which looked like it was going to be the weak part, now good. Buck is scrambling here to make this thing work, and he's managing it. That's why Peterson went 6 innings despite getting knocked around yesterday because he didn't want to tax the bullpen. They found a way to win the game anyway. So check in the plus column for Buck and how he managed his pitching staff yesterday. He may have gotten a little bit lucky because Lindor is hot, Pete Alonso was hot, McNeil had 3 hits, so
Alonso's been awesome.
Oh, he's been fantastic. Hoff might be right about that, and that part,
MVP.
That part of the Pete Alonso Met conversation, maybe Hoff was right. Everything else he's been wrong on, but at the end of the day,
right, you see him perk up when he said that. Now we got his attention.
Buck has.
We'll get to you later.
Buck has gotten the best out of a tough bullpen situation, and you have to give him credit for it.
877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan. We're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends of Town Fair remind you that you always get the guarantee lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. You said that they're beginning to resemble the Mets from last year. And like the last day or two is the first time I've actually felt that. Now, you have to understand, listen, literally 101 wins is 101 wins. There's always context. I'm not going to get deep in the weeds on that context, but I never thought that the Mets were as potent. And listen, this bothered a lot of Met fans last year. I was just being honest. I was telling you what I saw. And inevitably it proved right because the Padres smoked it and it seemed like a different weight class. But without trying to make excuses or contextualize 101 wins, which nobody cares about the next season, I felt it was slightly overstated who the Mets were. All right. But at their apex a year ago, at their absolute apex, when they were humming, they were dangerous, and they looked good, and they were potent, and they could bludgeon you, despite the absence of a second bopper behind Alonso and even Lindor to an extent. These Mets look like like the last couple of days, feel more like the Mets last year that looked the part for most of the season.
Yep.
And that's a good thing.
Well, they figure it out. That's what this Mets team feels
I didn't feel that down in Miami to start the season.
I definitely didn't feel it in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee certainly didn't feel it. They didn't really feel it at home against the hadn't really felt it much. Even the first win against the A's, 17 walks, they were out hit. Didn't really feel it. But then you get the clutch bomb by Alonso, to wrap up the series. you handle the Dodgers, you come out, you throw the first punch out there. Mets look good.
You get Beatty.
Mets look good.
You get Beatty taking a high fastball after a 6-pitch at bat, and 7th pitch he takes a high fastball because he's not biting on it. Gets an RBI. It's
my boy.
It's like, dude,
Beatty.
You got the young kids doing what vets are doing.
Yep.
That's how we felt last year about this Mets team. With that being said, though, BT, there's still so many question marks. I can't help but look at them and try to find the answer, even if I don't need an answer, even if the Mets don't need an answer because they're scrappy. That's what makes them fun this year. They're scrappy, and it's not beyond question that they're going to figure it out. It just feels like they are every single night finding a way to figure it out.
And a lot of people have hinted at this and talked about this and written about this. Maybe we're in the early stages of this ultimately going down as what eventually equates down the road when we look back and rehash Pete Alonso's absolute best season. Maybe he does drop 63 bombs on the board. I mean, who knows? He is locked in, and he is in his absolute prime. He's been around the league a couple of times now for a couple of years. His defense has been tight, and they look good. 877-337-6666. First up, Clem is in Rockland County. What's happening, Clem?
Good morning once again. Enjoying the best sports talk radio show on the airwaves. Thank you guys for the entertainment, the education, all the good stuff you do.
Appreciate you, Clem.
Thanks, pal.
Yep. BT, before I come down on you, I want to say we have a mutual friend, Mike Harris, so I'm not slamming you. I got to come at you, though, man. Like,
I love Mike. Go ahead.
Mike's a great guy, man.
He
Daughter's
is.
awesome, too.
Yep.
He's a great father, man. He really is. I look up Mike's a great guy. But anyway.
And by the way, his daughter's a hell of a softball player. She's a beautiful young lady. I've got a lot of love. Mike's a great dude, man. Let's go.
No doubt, man.
Now bring the heat. What's the problem?
Well, this is the problem. First of all, you always backhand slap the Mets, man, so now you're eating crow with them. And I know you're asking for forgiveness, but I don't know if Mets Nation's going to give it to you. But what really disturbed me was a couple of weeks ago, I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm a Bulls fan, but I love Obi Toppin. My wife and his wife, best friends. I know Obi. He comes to the Clem Pound every month. When he's home, he takes my kids out in his cool Jeep. We play badminton, bocce. He's just a great kid, man. And you wouldn't think he's like a multimillionaire the way he's so humble and down to earth. And then you were bashing him. Obi can't play this. He's got more weaknesses and this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you ever watched him at Dayton, man, because, the guy was just unbelievable there. The way he ran the court, shot threes, he even played a little D. But I know you're eating a lot of crow. Your foot's in your mouth. I'm just wondering what's coming next. Like, what can we expect from BT to backwalk?
You're gonna have to stay tuned in there, Clint.
Just wait till Aaron Rodgers is actually not here.
Yeah.
Then you're having unhinged lunatic
you gotta
on
tune
the air.
into that show, Clem.
Oh boy, let me tell you, Clem. Number one, the first thing you said. Let me just set the record straight. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm cool. Now, I could have if I wanted to take on the troll mentality and wear the troll hat today, I could have come on the air and said, big deal. Mets beat the Dodgers. Dodgers aren't that good. Dodgers not quite what they were a year ago. Big deal. They just swept the A's, who were a double-A team. I chose to actually react to what I see. And that's generally what I do.
For forgiveness. That's you basically asking for forgiveness.
No, not at all. But I promise you, no. That's not it, buddy.
He's just changing his outlook for the Mets.
Yeah, and listen, by the way, Clem, next time you get to hang out with Obi Toppin, he rolls by with the Jeep and you play badminton or you play the labyrinth or whatever else he's playing with your kids, tell him not to give up the basketball so quickly. Tell him to find the move where he puts it on the deck and actually gets to the hole.
But that's not his game.
Can you tell Obi Toppin that?
But that's not his game. He's trying to play within his game, right? I don't
Well,
mind
that's a good start to the show. I'm going to have to be battling people today. I like it.
I thought you were going to get on their good side.
I mean, listen, it is what it is. I react to the stuff that I see. When I see something good, I tell you. Now, to be fair, I might be a little bit more blunt than most. I might be a little more aggressive than most. But I also think I'm fair. Mm-hmm. I do. I believe that I have that fair chip within me. And, that's it. Rich is in South Jersey. What's happened to Richie?
I'm going to keep going with the anti-brand. Tanny.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Yes, Rich.
Go ahead, Rich.
First of all, acknowledge that even with the loss of Diaz, the Mets have an excellent bullpen, which you guys were not you guys, Tanny again, was sort of putting down at the beginning of the season how big the loss of Diaz is going to be.
I mean, he was the best pitcher in
far, the
baseball,
loss
Rich.
hasn't been-
Rich, he was the best pitcher in baseball.
I think I was the only one.
That's the only thing that I heard about.
So now people on the streets are telling you what I'm saying on the air, huh, Rich? Oh, jeez. Okay, I got
I
you.
hear a lot of great things about Volpe. I don't see great things on the field.
You know, Rich, listen, Rich, hold on one sec. You sound like an awesome guy. How long you been a Mets fan for? First year Mets fan was?
I was a Brooklyn Dodger fan.
Okay, so you're like my dad.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
I lived in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, 9 years old, 10 years old. Wait a second, I was born 39. Jackie Robinson came up. I was 8 years old.
Okay.
My mother used to shop in the same fruit and vegetable stores as his wife.
Oh, wow. So you've seen a lot here. So your eyes have seen a lot. I'm sure your ears have heard a lot over the years as well there, Rich. All right, here we go. All righty. I'm going to even stand up for this one, Barber. Let's go. Yeah, I got to tell you, serve that crow up, baby. Mets look a little better than I thought they would. And you know I'm jacked up about the Knicks. Let's go, Doe! Come on, Tate.
To make the dream work. Let's go. Let's go, Mets.
I am so entertained by you when you get on this Mets kick. I swear I don't know if you're trolling or you're actually enthusiastic about this. I truly
What do you
don't
think?
know.
What does your heart tell you? Is it a troll job or is it...
I know you love the Yankees, man.
But you know I love the song. And I love good stories, Tate.
I don't see you getting up and dancing for the Yankees. Seriously.
I just want to show off the Knicks sweatshirt. Really, that's really why I got it. It's an old...
Wait, did you come correct with the shoes?
No, I'm not wearing the Jordans today.
All right, good.
I'm not.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I know. It was a little bit of...
Check out your fit.
It didn't jinx us, though.
It did not.
Which was the fear.
Yes, it was.
Oh, boy. Met fans, did you get what you wanted?
But you can't.
Did I give you a big enough crumb there?
You still can't deny
What?
the questions that are there for the Mets, and they're
the Mets have a ton of questions.
They're mitigating them, which is maybe the most impressive thing of the first month of this season.
That we can agree upon.
There's no doubt about it because
All
I
right.
thought that this thing could fall apart quickly, and it has not.
Listen,
Credit to the Mets.
Again, if you guys are just tuning in, one of the and I objectively viewing the Yanks and the Mets coming into the season, right? I didn't pick the Yankees to win the division either, but I looked at the Mets and I said, man, I'm worried, just based on the circumstance Teague and I just laid out over the course of the last 20-minute conversation or so, that there is a chance that the Mets could drown in April. Not only have they not drowned, and they dealt with adversity and injuries, and they've navigated a couple of different things that some teams haven't yet had to navigate this early in the season, but they're flourishing. And you got to give props when you got to give props. Bottom line, 877-337-6666.